welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is Mystic Forge Combo, brought to you by cardtrader.com. Mystic Forge Combo is a deck that's been around in Legacy for a long time, and I guess calling it Mystic Forge Combo isn't really fair anymore. There's only 2 Forges, but there's 4 Karns and 4 One Rings. This is more like Ancient Tomb, Mono Brown Artifact Combo. I don't know what we really want to call this, but historically Forge Combo has been the name. This is a deck that has recently surged back into the limelight. It's been kind of a meta-adjacent curiosity you could play for a couple years, kind of living in the space of why would you do this when you could play 8 cast, but 8 cast is gone now. It's risky if other artifact combo decks are good, like if Null Rod and Collector Oof and Deafening Silence and that sort of thing are in the meta. This deck gets splash hate, but those are mostly not how you fight Reanimator, so they're not around right now. In addition to those meta considerations, there's also some new printings where this deck has absorbed Eldrazi technology in Glaring Fleshraker and Kozilek's Command. Fleshraker is a complete sicko. Way back in the Eternal Glory podcast, in our preview episode for Modern Horizons 3, we shouted out Glaring Fleshraker as something to watch, and we suspect it would probably be really good in a deck like this one. And turns out, whenever you cast a colorless spell, if you deal 1 to your opponent and get a mana out of it, that is actually insane in a deck that's trying to cast a bunch of colorless spells at the same turn, and usually your only gate is mana. This solves all the problems this deck had. Kozilek's Command, 4 of that one as well. This just gives this deck a real spell. Same thing that this card does for Eldrazi. Just historically, one of the weaknesses of Eldrazi is doesn't really interact, doesn't really kill a creature, doesn't really interact with any spell. Anything you cast is going to resolve. The deck doesn't have any card selection of its own. It just sort of plays the cards and hopes they're good enough to win. Kozilek's Command does all of those things. It can be a giant ritual. And if you have Glaring Fleshraker, that ritual is also a fireball. You get to look at a bunch of cards and then actually draw one. Creature removal and graveyard hate, all in the main. These are big upgrades to a deck that was just trying to shove something, and now it could do a little more. On the most recent episode of Eternal Glory, I called this out. We did a section of decks you should not play at Eternal Weekend, and I put this one out there. My feeling about this deck is that while it is very powerful, and you can exploit the kind of solved metagame right now, because nobody is playing specific Null Rod style hate right now, over a 12-round tournament like Eternal Weekend, 15 if you want to win the whole thing, you might just run into a Null Rod. You might just run into someone who has 3 Force of Wills in the top 10 card of their deck. It's not that the deck is bad, it's just that over repeated exposure, you're just more likely to run into someone who has your number or someone who ran hotter than you this round. And I'm not sure this deck has the stability to fight through that for 12 to 15 rounds. But Bryant pushed back and said, this deck's probably actually great. And it inspired me to want to try it. If you look at the recent Goldfish results or MTG Top 8 results, you'll see that there are some big name players like Jujubin, who has won Legacy Eternal Weekend twice in the past, putting up a bunch of results with this deck. If something can sideswipe this frog meta, I'm interested in seeing it. I'm going to showcase it. I'm definitely not playing this at Eternal Weekend. It's not my vibe, but this deck might rule, and I'm happy to try it out. Let's see how this goes. Building a TCG deck is an opportunity to express yourself. Do you like alternate print styles, cards in a specific language, fancy foils, or a combination of cool factors? Put the world at your fingertips while you look for exactly the card you want. Apply search filters to find what you're looking for from all over the world. Maybe that rare Japanese foil you're chasing is available in Germany. Don't worry about international shipping with cardtrader.com's CardTrader Zero service. CardTrader functions as your personal P.O. box, collecting orders from sellers worldwide to send you one affordable package. Easily connect with buyers and sellers worldwide on cardtrader.com. Use code BoshNRoll for 5% off your first order. I'm on the play in round 1. Generally, what this deck wants to do is resolve a big stupid thing on turn 1, one of the 10 4-drops your deck is built around. Being on the play with a cantrip/removal spell is turn 2 Karn good enough? It's possible that the answer is no and you're just supposed to mulligan all hands that don't have a turn 1 threat, but I would mull this on the draw. On the play, I'm going to try it though. I could play Ancient Tomb and Lotus Petal and pass. If they just wasteland me here, I'll probably pivot onto Urza Saga. I could have played Saga, ran out Ancient Tomb. Alright, we seem to be Ancient Tomb gaming. Magus of the Moon. Well, that card's really hard for me to beat. I can make one... I'm not going to be able to cast this once Magus of the Moon's in play. Ever. I could just draw a card right now. Scry 0, draw 1 is a mode of this card. I could convert Lotus Petal into a colorless source. What's the difference with that? Does Lotus Petal actually do anything in this deck? It turns on Mox Opal. There's one copy of Mox Opal that Lotus Petal being in play is slightly better than having a spawn. But I have 4 Fleshrakers in the deck. I think a spawn is better, and I get to see more cards. Unfortunately, I can't get to 3 here to actually deal with this Magus. Okay, Ancient Tomb Mirror to start off the league. Basalt Monolith. That, I can cast that next turn, and it's a more stable way to get up to Karn. I will keep this. It would be hyper aggressive and probably really smart of them to pitch a Fury and kill my Eldrazi spawn right now. Though if they think I'm actually Eldrazi, that might be even better if they think I'm actually Eldrazi. Because right now I haven't done anything that an Eldrazi deck wouldn't do. They don't know that I'm Mystic Forge combo necessarily. My spawn survived into my turn. Drawing 2 Urza Sagas under Magus sucks every ass. Playing the Monolith is going to give away that I am not Eldrazi. I'm just going to hope that doesn't matter. Elvish Spirit Guide Tinderwall. Oh my god. This is not stock Red Stompy. This is Gruul Initiative. Okay. Well, that's scary. My plan to just hide behind an Ensnaring Bridge is no longer alive. I'm going to have to actually win this game. Also, my apologies if you hear any background noise. During this league, there is some major construction happening about 20 yards from the room I record in. There is a business across the street. They have a crane in the parking lot, and they're lifting large things up, and I can hear the trucks like banging and beeping. I frequently say that, and then nobody can hear anything, and I'm just wasting clean air, but, you know, just in case. I know what's going on. Nothing I can do about it. Speaking of nothing I can do about it, what does Karn do here? I can get a 2-drop. Get and play a 2-drop here. Argentum Masticore is interesting. I can't put the Ensnaring Bridge into play yet. Walking Ballista's too slow. The problem is anything that I get here, Karn just dies. And I'm drawing all these lands, which means I can't even get my hand low. Like if I drew another mana source of any kind here, like a Lotus Petal or a Grim Monolith or anything, I could have kept Karn alive for a turn under Ensnaring Bridge, but that's not where we are. And it's only a matter of time till I die to the Undercity anyway. I'm noticing right now that this build, I just pulled this from a 5.0 list. I have no opinions on how to build this deck. I'm noticing right now that there's no 4-drop pivot in the sideboard. Like some lists in the past have had a Mystic Forge or a One Ring in the sideboard, so Karn could kick in a real engine. But we don't have that. Do I think I should get Karn into play right now and just invest that mana? The problem is that Basalt Monolith doesn't untap anyway, so I'm not really investing anything. Okay. I'm going to pass. I guess I save 1 mana on future turns if I Karn now. But if I draw a One Ring, I'm going to wish I had Karn to get Paradox Engine. Okay, I'm going to play to win rather than play to not lose. And I'm not going to get Ensnaring Bridge yet. They've got a 7/5. They flipped Undermountain Adventure. That's horrific. And they tutored a Basic Forest last turn. If they can ramp 1 more mana this turn, they are in the trap already. The bees in the trap. Backup Magus. Okay, so I'm dead even if I get Ensnaring Bridge. I'm glad I didn't bother with that plan. I need a One Ring. Or we could draw lands for the entire game and die. All right. Didn't do anything that game. It's over. I take 5 from the trap. The Magi can attack for another 4. Let me get my sizing right. I updated and reinstalled Magic Online last night, so things are weird right now. Here we go. All right, Dismember. Seems like a card I want in my deck here. Sideboarding is going to be light. Basically, you have 3 defense grids for Force of Will decks, and then this Karn Wishboard that you rarely ever bring into your deck, and then stuff for combo. Mindbreak Trap in some crazy world could stop an initiative turn 1. Like, if I could put Mindbreak Trap in my opening hand, but not just in my deck randomly, if I draw at any moment after turn 0, it's useless, but on turn 0, it could stop their open. Like if they go Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal, Initiative Creature, Mindbreak Trap is on. I'm not doing it, I'm just talking it through. I like it a lot in Vintage versus Vintage Initiative, where Moxen are a big part of the thing, but Spirit Guides are a big part of the thing here, and Soul Lands, so it's a different calculation. I'm not sure Pithing Needle does anything, and Kozilek's Command doesn't work if I get mooned. Oh, Vexing Bauble does very little here. And it's a redraw. It's an artifact and a redraw once I'm ripping. I don't think I'm going to bring in anything else, though. Even if I did want to cut all this stuff. I could Pithing Needle Beseiju, maybe. Is that a card they're going to have? I guess Vexing Bauble on the play. I just said Chrome Mox and Lotus Petal are cards that they have. Alright, never mind. Vexing Bauble's better than I thought, but I still think cutting 1 is right. Let's do it. Okay. I have a turn 2 Fleshraker. Again, if they turn 1 Moon me, this hand falls apart. If they don't Moon me, this hand is fine. I'm going to mulligan now that I know what we're up against. Okay, here we go. I like this. I'm going to keep this and bottom, I think, the second City of Traders. That's too much of that. And I'm going to lead on Urza Saga Vexing Bauble. If I can catch their mana development, that's pretty cool. And I don't want to lead on City as my first land, because then Urza Saga doesn't work on the following turn. And committing Grim Monolith here doesn't actually cast the Bauble at the time where I'd want it. Okay, there's Bauble. The crane at the construction site across the street is currently backing out and into my driveway. Hopefully it's almost over soon, if you could hear it at all. Okay, Ancient Tomb Pass. Oh, this Voltaic Key is the nuts. Alright. City, Monolith, Key. This is the interaction this deck is built around. Key plus Monolith, just being an insane output of mana and reliable. Okay, so I have 3 mana here. I could Kozilek's Command and draw a card if I do it now. Or I could give up on Kozilek's Command, or potentially exile a 2-drop or C2 cards next turn. I don't think they're going to have a 2-drop. I don't think I want to just randomly draw a card either. Right now I'm showing Dismember plus Make a Construct, which is a pretty reasonable turn. Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Risky, risky. I'm going to have the initiative in a moment here. They searched up a mountain. I'm going to make a construct, and I'm glad I didn't spend any mana on this Kozilek's Command last turn. I drew Ancient Tomb. I'm just going to make another construct. I'm going for the win here. I'm just going to bash their shit. Manifold Key can make a construct unblockable. Soul Guide Lantern doesn't need to be in my deck. I should get Vexing Bauble back in and cut that. My bad. Okay, Manifold Key, get in. Now I have thousands of mana. I am going to delete my City of Traders and get this Ancient Tomb in the mix. I don't have a basic land to search for. They can't, like, Fury or Solitude or Force of Vigor or anything here. Yep, not a basic to be found. Ain't nobody got time for that. If they have a green source, they could hardcast Force of Vigor and be stable. There's the basic mountain. Undermountain Adventurer, okay. If they forge, I'm going to kill it in response. I think I have the mana. I have to count. All right, they went into the well. They know they're in trouble. Okay, so in the end step, I'll take a key, untap Grim Monolith, float mana, Manifold Key, untap Grim Monolith. I have exactly enough mana to delete this creature and go nuts. Target player scries X, exile target creature. Yeah, they see what's going on over here. Cool. All right, well, that one went well. When I don't get Blood Mooned, I like my chances. Okay, Still God Lantern's supposed to be out, and Vexing Bauble back in. I'm still not convinced this card is good on the draw. Might have been fine on the play. I don't know if it bought me a turn or not. They certainly conceded with 4 or 5 cards in their hand. They could have been Lotus Petals and Chrome Moxen. I don't know. And we'll never know. Okay, let's do it. I'm also pretty comfortable bringing in Mindbreak Trap versus Initiative decks in when I could cast Mindbreak Trap. This deck, I guess I could have like Mox Opal, a bunch of Colorless, and a Manifold Key. I'm going to mulligan this. That could get double blue. But if you could draw Trap later, get to a place of stability, and then just hard cast Trap on a monster, that's not that bad. Urza's Workshop with no hope of Metalcraft. A bunch of 4s that a 3 and a 4. I think this is a mulligan as well. My Kingdom for a Grim Monolith. Am I going to 4? Is this my fate? I think so. All right. We've looked at 28 cards without a Grim Monolith in them. I have to stop somewhere. I'm going to keep this in bottom. Vexing Bauble. I have to keep the One Ring. I think I have to keep the Key, because high rolling a Monolith is how I can still play this game. Workshop looks bad. And I don't think I can keep a 1-lander, which means Fleshraker has to go. That hurts. All right. That mulligan sucked. And it's moments like that, which is why I put it on my Don't Play This at Eternal Weekend list. Not that the deck isn't powerful, but it has its own fail rate. You want to roll those dice 15 times. They have a turn 1 initiative monster. If I draw Grim Monolith, we're actually just still playing this game. Tutor to Mountain. Come on, Grim Monolith off the tippity top. City of Traders. All right. It would cost me 2 life to get this Voltaic Key into play, but my life is better when it's in play. I will take the risk here. If they Blood Moon me here, I'm in trouble. If they Collector Oof me, it's over. If they just attack for 5 and pass the turn, we have a chance. Blood Moon. Yep, that sucks. Grim Monolith? Urza's Saga. All right, so this is 10, 11, 12. I'm at 1. Okay. I'm at 1. If I draw Grim Monolith, I can still play the One Ring next turn. Now, on the flip side of, do you want to roll the dice this many times at Eternal Weekend? If my opponent didn't Blood Moon me there, we actually have a good shot to win the game. And if I draw Grim Monolith on any turn of this game, we had a good shot of winning the game. So mulling to 4 and still having a pretty good shot at a game is the strength of the deck. So I'll give it that at least. But, I mean, here, we just didn't do anything. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 2. This is a very powerful hand. I'm going to keep it. This is a turn 1 Fleshraker plus Lotus Petal trigger Fleshraker. Let's see what's going on over there. A Fleshraker. It resolved. I'll get you for 1. Unfortunately, I don't have the second or the third mana available to play the second Fleshraker, but I'm in good position to go nuts. A Polluted Delta. And the real test of this deck, one of the strengths of it is it can outmuscle an Atraxa or an Archon. Okay, Fatal Push that. That Fatal Push sucks for me because reading on turn 1 that Fleshraker resolved is like, oh, they don't have a counter. But if they were just holding Fatal Push, maybe they saved the counter because they can answer this a different way. Urza's Saga was a great draw there. Now I have a plan, even if I don't rip a 4-drop. Thoughtseize, have a peek. What do you like? They like that they can entomb and reanimate here, uncontested. Ooh, okay. I mean, it's just an artifact, but this artifact turns on Urza's Workshop. I currently have 2 Workshop lands. If I sack the Eldrazi Spawn, I can save 2 life or I can just not do that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to not do that. Okay, Vexing Bauble. Get the ping. So here's a spot, like I was talking about, where this deck might reasonably outmuscle a reanimation monster, which is the strength of the deck right now. If they get Atraxa, they put a bunch of cards in their hand, and then I have Urza Saga. I can make a big construct unblockable. If I find a 4-drop, it's protected by Vexing Bauble. If they get Archon, I just discard City of Traders, sack an Eldrazi spawn, and don't care that much. Dumped Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower answers one of my 2 constructs. Like, that is a meaningful piece of fair interaction, and they just got rid of it, which tells me that they're trying to find an unfair game plan to go over the top here, because they realize they can't win a fair game. Entomb, yep, okay. Do they have a surprise monster like Valgavoth? Looks like we are just Atraxing. If this is Reanimate, they're actually just dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. They would have to find Fatal Push off of this, or they just lose. And they did find Fatal Push. Unfortunate. But that's the power of Atraxa. The line here is make a construct, make it unblockable with Manifold Key. And they're at 5 life right now. It'll be 4 life when I make this construct. It'll be 3 life when I make the other construct. I could just burn them out. It's possible. And if they do something like take Daze instead of Fatal Push, which they didn't do because it doesn't make any sense to do, but I'm allowed to hope. They took Frog, Push, C, and Animate Dead. Okay. Put you to 4. Moment of Truth. Oh, wow. We might have just won. Okay. So there are 4. I can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana here, and they can't counter it. Can they kill Glaring Fleshraker? I don't see a way to get Revolt. Okay. I need to float this mana now while I still have 2 Urza lands. Yeah, that was a good draw. Vexing Bauble is a powerful card. Manifold Key. City of Traders. Untap. Do I need to do this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I could exile Atraxa even. And if this resolves, they're dead, so exiling Atraxa doesn't matter that much. But I guess if they could kill Glaring Fleshraker, it does matter. Okay, untap my Monolith. Okay. Command for 7. Exile target creature. Target player makes X donkeys. They can't Force of Will. I could pay for Daze, which they also can't do. By the time Atraxa is gone, the damage triggers will already be on the stack. This does turn on Revolt. It just doesn't matter. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, cool. I mean, Kozilek's command, pretty messed up. But that's what I'm talking about, outmuscle the Atraxa. I think if it happened to turn earlier, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So, I mean, glad they took a slow hand. But that was definitely sweet. A Dismember does not actually kill Psychic Frog in most situations. I could bring in the defense grids. Pithing Needle. This is a Wasteland deck. Oh no, sideboarding. My greatest nemesis when I play a weird stompy deck I'm not familiar with. What is Defense Grid actually for in a deck with 4 Vexing Baubles main? Is this for even more dedicated counterspell decks? Is Bauble's already doing this work? Is it for decks with Spell Pierce in them? Weird. Okay. I don't think this deck... I guess they can't Entomb in my end step either. If I have Defense Grid. Defense Grid does turn off Vexing Bauble, though, because you've paid 3 for your spell. If the game goes long, Defense Grid is actually super awkward against Bauble. If I shave the 1 of Mox Opal, I'm just looking at this in terms of my payoffs, my interaction, my mana that makes the whole deck work. And then what's left over is like the zeros, Soul Guide Lantern, Pithing Needle, Vexing Bauble. You could probably change the number of keys a little bit. If you put a One Ring or Mystic Forge in the sideboard, Karn can still get it, but then you're lower on main deck hits. Maybe this matchup's not about main deck hits, and I'm going to put Mystic Forge in the sideboard for Karn to get. I think One Ring is the better thing to just have. Okay. Let's try that. This is a turn 2 One Ring against a known Thoughtseize deck. No Graveyard Hate. I do have an accelerated Urza Saga, though. I'll keep it. Misty Rainforest, pass. This is now a turn 1 One Ring, but it gets beat by Daze and Force of Will. Or it doesn't get beat by Daze because I have Lotus Petal. Okay. Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Monolith, Key. They paused a couple times on these spells. This might be emergency brainstorm time. Or Consigned to Memory. Okay, yep, that's a good spot to fight that. Consigned to Memory is another card that I shouted out in the Eternal Glory podcast where I said this might not be a good deck for the tournament because at Eternal Weekend Asia, there were something like 650 copies of Consigned to Memory. I actually have these numbers. I can pull it up, the show notes from Eternal Glory real quick. Oh, 921. 614 players registered 921 copies of Consigned to Memory. That was another issue I took with selecting this deck for an important tournament right now. Every blue deck is just stacked on Consigned to Memory. Not inherently disqualifying. Like this deck can beat a counterspell. Or I guess that's what I answered my question of what are the defense grids for. It's for that. Okay, double Ancient Tomb. I found another One Ring. If they force this, they'll have 2 cards left in hand. Draw, hit me with Frog. Another 4 cards when I go for One Ring next turn. Force Pitching Force. That is awkward that Consigned to Memory competes against Force of Will in the Vexing Bauble and Defense Grid hierarchy. A Frog hit, there's a Ponder. Cool thing about the One Ring, though, is it can just win a game by itself, and I've got 2 of them. The bad news is Consigned to Memory's back on. That was the turn they tapped out. That was the turn I had to punish the best. Wasteland. That doesn't take me off it, but it does turn on Daze. Fleshraker. Okay. Moment of truth. They pitched Force of Will to Force last turn, and they didn't pitch Daze to Force. Let's see if they've come up with a Daze in this last turn cycle, or if they sequenced out that they could Daze. I would hold Force personally, but they have seen a lot of cards. Okay, the ring's in. They could consign the protection trigger instead of consigning the ring, I guess, if they think pushing damage is how they're going to win this game. All right, everything resolved. I mean, consigning the protection trigger and not the ring makes no sense at all, unless you think the ring damage is going to push you over the edge. That's me responding to myself, not responding to the opponent. Okay, I'm trying to draw a card here. This Saga is a turn behind finding the key, but I'm going to see 4 cards. If any of them are keys, we're in business, because key can untap the ring and draw more keys. And we could rake some serious flesh along the way. Perhaps. Archon of Cruelty's trigger does target, which means the ring protection stops me from having to discard or lose life if they thread together a reanimate situation this turn. They'd probably reanimate Atraxa and dig for consigns and forces, though, even if they had the option. Okay, Cycling Troll. That is the least scary of all the things they could have done there. They grabbed an Underground Sea. Harbinger of the Seas is live, but I think they would have gotten Basic Swamp if they were going to play that. A Brazen Borrower bouncing my ring. That lets me set up another turn of ring protection. They're attacking me for fun. Okay. Urza's Workshop. Mox Opal. I didn't bother to check if there was anything clever to do with a Glaring Fleshraker there. I hope not. Is there anything clever to do with Urza Saga? I could get Metalcraft. If I spend 2, then I'd have 2, 3. Yeah, that's not enough. Just going to replay the ring. They didn't have Daze last turn. Hope they don't have it now. And this does turn on Metalcraft. Okay, we're back. That Brazen Borrower is a curious play. Like, denying me 1 card is worth giving me protection twice. I don't know. I mean, they know their hand better than me. I'm just trying to figure out what they're doing. Another One Ring. That's fun. Okay, before Saga pops, I'm going to activate the One Ring. I want all the information I'm going to get this turn before I commit to a tutor. I have another ring. Do I want a Construct token? I don't think so. I do want to float 2 mana. And then float another one. I'm going to get Manifold Key. I have 3 floating. I could play Fleshraker, so I will. Raker, City. This deck doesn't really need colored mana for anything. Backup Raker. Might just storm off right now. We haven't tested them on a removal spell yet this game. If they just have Go for the Throat. That's pretty good. Dismember. Okay. I did net or save 1 mana out of that with the sequencing. I'm not going to have 2 of these things, though. And then Ancient Tomb, untap, Grim Monolith. Grim Monolith, play Basalt Monolith. This just gets another Eldrazi spawn in the mix while being mana neutral. Do we have another Dismember? Oh yeah. Okay, so they took a lot of damage there. But now I'm pretty confident this other One Ring's going to resolve. And I'm actually going to keep the one that has 2 counters on it. Or does that make sense? So I draw 1 card now, 2 cards next turn, for a total of 3. Or I would take 2 damage to also draw 3 cards. Now, if that ring was on 3, it would make sense to keep it, but it's on 2. Rip again. Karn the Great Creator. Okay. The end is near, folks. If I don't die to my own rings. Opponent is pretty clearly out of good interaction. They did just get a draw step. Reanimate their troll, you got it. Just make sure they have lethal for when they get to play the game. They could have reanimated last turn and didn't. I think that's what they drew for turn, which means I think their shields are down right now. Mystic Forge, okay. The gang's coming together. Orcish Bowmaster would be annoying, but let's fish it out now if it might be there. Okay, I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana to play with. I have a 0, which means Karn for Paradox Engine should win the game. 1, 2... Oh, sick. Urza's Workshop counts Urza's Workshop. This is actually a good land drop to make. 1, 2, 3, 4. Karn. This is their last moment to have a YOLO piece of interaction. Make a wish. I'm going to get the Band in Commander, Paradox Engine. Engine, did they sandbag a consign this long? Or are we good? It's in. I have a spell, which untaps all my ring and all my mana sources. I forgot to key the first time. That's a little bit of mana I'm going to lose out on. I think it's mostly fine. If they sandbagged Bowmaster to right now, I could get got. So I'm not going to tap ring right away. I'm going to float a bunch of mana and play Mystic Forge. I know I just missed out on some ring draws, but I might not need them. And if I draw 3 cards right now, I could die. And now the slow clicking part of the game begins. As long as there is a spell on top of my deck, okay, I can clear this Mystic Forge. All right, do I want to lose to Bowmaster or do I want to go to 2? All right, fuck a Bowmaster. I'm activating this. All right, yeah, they didn't have it. I'm going to exile this Eldrazi Temple as well. Kozilek's command on top of the deck now. I could cast colorless spells, right? That's how this card works. Artifacts and colorless. We did it. And now I am officially off. I have 15 minutes. My opponent can wait as long as they like here. Though there is the possibility that they are waiting as long as they like, and then they'll Bowmaster me at the end. But I'm holding Kozilek's command now, so I only lose to Bowmaster if I'm at 1, which means I can't Mystic Forge again. Okay, cool. They gave up. Vexing Bauble was the final straw. Okay, cool. Grinded through, pretty serious interaction. That was the classic game of just threat. The last one wins. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in round 3. My hand is pretty interesting. This is Urza's Saga, Voltaic Key on turn 1, City of Traders, cast Basalt Monolith, cast Karn on turn 2. And then Saga's also taking up. It's not a turn 1 thing because this is the wrong monolith, but it is a turn 2 thing with Saga cranking. I'll keep it. Opponent's on 6. Looted Delta. Oh, I could just turn 1 Karn here. That does commit the city early, and it makes Daze a bigger problem. If I resolve Karn here, I probably just get Tormod's Crypt to make sure I don't die right now. All right, let's try it. I wish this was a ancient tomb with every fiber of my being right now. That's my exposure here. If they just entomb plus days, we're in trouble. B-Storm. Okay, emergency meeting. Okay, that worked. I'll take Key. If Monolith and Key both resolve, I don't care if they counter Karn, because I have a backup Karn, I can just send it again in the very near future. All right, Karn. Create. Greatly. I could have played Basalt Monolith out there too, but without the Fleshraker around, I kind of like sandbagging it. Okay, so the win the gameplay is Liquid Metal Coating. The don't die this turn and get control play is Tormod Script. I'm going to take Tormod Script, which might make me a wuss, but I'm okay with that in this particular environment. Because with 2 Karns in my hand, the normal play patterns of you need to get coding first don't really apply as much. I can just get coding next turn. Oh, wow. They just dumped an Archon straight up off the Surveil. Well, that was set up by Brainstorm. Never mind. Everybody played well. They set up that Surveil with their Brainstorm. I grabbed the Tormod Script. They're going to cast Reanimate just to flush it out. Hashtag played around it. Okay. Nice one, me. I'm glad there's not a Liquid Metal Coating in my hand right now. Okay. I think now I do want to get coding. Key, untap Monolith. Karn, wish for coding. I'm going to play Urza's Saga, which replaces my city, but I have to make a land drop eventually. Liquid Metal Coating, get in, and I'm going to pass and just Rashad and port them in their upkeep. As long as Karn's still alive, this land doesn't work this turn. They could Entomb or Brainstorm right now, or cycle a Troll, or this could just resolve and they don't have this land for the turn. I like that. And then Karn can actually start killing lands next turn. Uh-oh, they missed a land drop. Uh-oh for them. Good for me. They might have Brazen Borrower. And here I am drawing my other piece of Graveyard Hate. Okay, target your land with this. Entomb in response. We got him, kids! Okay, Entomb has dumped Atraxa. Karn, boop this land. I'm going to... So if they have Force of Will and Reanimate, the result is an Atraxa, which might not even win. And they didn't force Karn, which means they would have had to come up with a Force of Will in the last 2 draw steps, both of which they never shuffled the Brainstorm. So they haven't seen any new cards since the Brainstorm right now, which means I think my Soul Guide Lantern is safe to resolve. Let's find out. Soul Guide Lantern. Can we get a Rage Scoop? We're in there. Let's delete Atraxa and play City of Traders and untap Grim Monolith. Wait, do I need to untap Grim? I could untap Liquid Metal Coating. That's kind of sick, actually. Then I Rashad and port them on their turn. Okay. There's probably some hyper-aggressive thing I could be doing with the Mystic Forge and the Basalt Monolith right now, but I don't think I need to do that. Okay, freeze your land in your upkeep. Then I make a 5/5, then a 6/6, then a 7/7, and you die really quickly. With no permanence in play. We're going for the flawless victory. 20 life versus no permanence. Count it. A concession counts. Okay, just an early Karn and making the conservative selection with the Karn got me that game. This is the same matchup we just played again. Armed with new information that Defense Grid is good against Consigned to Memory. I probably want to go down to 1 Bauble, or do you just play 7 and hope it works? But how am I going to sideboard that many cards? I don't think that can be done. All right. I did this last time, the Macabre for the Forge and the Needle, and I'm pivoting 3 of my 4 Baubles into 2 Defense Grids now. I could cut the Opal and keep a Bauble. I'm going to do that. I think if all of our spells resolve, mine are more powerful, which is a good thing to say against the Reanimator deck. Not every deck can say that. This is a turn 1 Bauble, turn 2 Grim Monolith ? There's no real plan here. And I could cast Karn on turn 3, which it might be too late. There's no Macabre. Extremely soft to Wasteland. I will mulligan this. Hey, this is a turn 1 One Ring. If I'm willing to go all in. Going all in versus the 4 stays and now Consigned to Memory deck seems like a mistake. I'm definitely keeping the hand, just deciding what's going to the bottom. It's either Lotus Petal or Fleshraker. I think it's Lotus Petal. Not confident in that, but I think mana is more replaceable than Glaring Fleshraker in terms of what I might draw off the top of the deck. Misty Rainforest. Another key. I'm going to play Saga and one of the keys. And I hope they counter the key. What I don't want them to do is entomb Archon of Cruelty right now. I'm not ready. My exact words on the Eternal Glory podcast when I was reviewing this Mystic Forge deck is that the deck can beat Force of Will or it can beat Archon of Cruelty, but I don't think it can beat Archon of Cruelty backed by Force of Will. And that counterspell's fine. I have more of that effect ready to go. Daze is worse for them than Force of Will because they're back a resource, and Cycling Troll is a lot worse than casting Entomb. So got the better of that exchange in every way that it could have gone wrong. Okay, more keys. I think Grim Monolith is more important than Fleshraker. So I'm going to play the Fleshraker first and see if this gets a force or a consign out of their hand. Got an Emergency Brainstorm, which did eat another Daze. Okay. If I get Wastelander right now, that's going to suck. But they are once again on 0 permanence with me at 20 life, chasing another flawless victory. Blue to Delta. So they have 2 Underground Seas in their hand. Because it's the one they got off the Troll and the one they've picked up from Daze twice. Tameo. Okay. That's only a problem if they have a third counterspell in their hand. And I can get Vexing Bauble here and it doesn't matter. Okay. Wow, Vexing Bauble. What a sicko. Yeah, tutor Vexing Bauble. And then we just go completely ape. Grim Monolith. Manifold Key. Voltaic Key. Untap Monolith. Almost misclicked an untapped key with itself. Don't do that. Untap Monolith. The One Ring with a mana floating. Does having Basalt Monolith in play here matter? I don't think so. That only matters once I get Paradox Engine. One Ring resolves. 1 mana still floating. I still have a land drop. Oh, look at me holding back my Basalt Monolith. Looking smart. Drew one of the payoffs for that. Okay, shields are down for a turn, but they can't touch me. They can make a clue. There's one of the 2 Cs we know about. Explosives on 1. That's really good, but they're a turn behind on it. Okay, I gotta make it work this turn. Land is a good draw. 1 ring, rip it. Okay. I want Fleshraker in play. I'm sure of that. I can go Manifold Key, untap Grim Monolith, start there. And then Eldrazi mana, cast Fleshraker. And then this is why we sandbag Basalt Monolith to get this extra ding. Now the question is, do I untap the One Ring or untap the Monolith? I would have 2 mana left over, 3 mana left over at the spawn. I think I untap the Ring. 3 cards come in. Defense Grid. It is worth 2. I lose all my keys and the bauble next turn to Engineered Explosives. I could also Kozilek's Command, exile Tameo, draw some cards, or no, I could make mana with this. That's so much better. Okay. I'm going to sack this. I'm going to make a dope, which is actually 2 dopes, and then draw cards. Make spawns, draw cards. Okay, make a Dingus on Cass. Make a Dingus on Resolution. Grim Monolith is good here. Yeah. Because I could just cast it and keep the chain going. Now I can cast Karn. What does Karn do from this position? It turns off Engineered Explosives and Clue tokens, even if it does nothing else. And I do have Mox Opal in my sideboard. Okay. Well, that's gnarly. The old Karn the Great Creator, just value passive ability versus Reanimator. Who knew? I could grab Coding here. I could grab Tormod's Crypt, but I'd have to sack my Bauble to cast the Tormod's Crypt. Just trying to think of how I lose. And I have another Bauble in my hand, so I'm going to get the Tormod's Crypt. And then sack my spawn to draw a card. Then play Crypt that makes a new spawn, and then that spawn can cast a new Bauble. That was fun. Okay, well, don't know how I lose from here. Go. There's the 3rd Underground Sea, finally, actually in play. They tutored for that on turn 1 or 2, and it's now turn 5, and it's the first time they played it. And Tameo didn't even attack. Okay, I take 3 from the Ring. Draw for turn. This is where the defense grid comes in because the grid beats Consign to Memory. which they are actually ahead of at this point. All right, Defense Grid, I'll play that. And then I get Paradox Engine and win. Something's happening. Hardcast Brazen Borrower? Just creature mode? All right. I guess that makes more sense. Attacking and killing Karn probably is a better real plan than bouncing something here. I mean, none of it's going to be good enough, but it does make sense to try that. Yeah, I'm going to draw cards with the ring. Another key. Untap Monolith. Untap Monolith. 5 in the pool. Get the Paradox Engine, and that's game. Engine. Ping, yeah. Yep, cool. All right. Well, that was really powerful. If we are rating a deck in the metagame in its ability to hang with Blue-Black Randomator, which I think is a perfectly fine metric, this deck has demonstrated 2 for 2 now versus that deck, why this might be something worth exploring. Cool stuff. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. If you're having fun, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to play what I'm playing, you can order it all in one package from cardtrader.com. Use code BoshNRoll for 5% off your first order. We're on the draw in round 4 versus the Wolf of Walmart, who says, hi, YouTube. Everyone say hi to Wolf of Walmart. Make sure to remind them to get their numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Okay, what does this hand actually do? I have 2 out of 3 artifacts. I could accelerate in Urza's Saga. I could Pithing Needle Wasteland to build stability. I'm going to try this, even though I think it's a little slow for what I'd like. I don't like that my opponent is aggressively mulling here. They're on 5 so far. Wooded Foothills. Spooky. That's interesting. I'm going to lead on Saga, and I'm going to cast Pithing Needle. I'll see if they respond with this Foothills, and see if that gives me any information I can work with. I could go Monolith Key, Untap Key. Okay, so is this the Epic Storm? What are we doing over here? I'm going to name Wasteland just in case, but there's a good chance that's not in the deck. Shatter Skull. Ruby. Okay, we're playing against Ruby. Karn the Great Creator. So if I had played my key last turn... Oh wait, it doesn't matter. This is still 4 mana. I was doing math in my head like, oh no, I'm back 1 mana from where I want to be, but that's not even true because Grim Monolith costs 2, and if I'm starting at 3, this is the same thing. Okay, do I think the One Ring or Karn is more likely to help me survive this turn? I think it's the Ring. I imagine they could win somehow through a Ring, but nothing I get with Karn actually helps me here. And Ruby Storm, kind of the whole thing is they win off rituals, not off artifact mana. Okay, I'm going to try to set myself up for a big win next turn. If I can survive this turn. Ren's Resolve, here we go. Seething Song, Burning Wish. So they immediately found a big boatload of mana and a tutor for whatever. If they just have some shit like Meltdown in the sideboard, I could be in a lot of trouble here. Okay, Ral, triggering with 1 card left in hand. I could have gotten Karn and grabbed Tormod Script. I don't think turning off a Past in Flames win is more useful than having protection for the turn, though they do have Past in Flames as the last card in their hand. We'll see if this works out for me. Okay, flipping Ren's Resolve, Wish, and Manamorphose. These Ren's Resolves have been basically the best they could possibly be. And they could still Past in Flames again from the graveyard at some point. Ral can flip at some point. I don't know if they play something like Thassa's Oracle to beat the One Ring. I don't know what the actual plan to beat that is. But even if they make damage unpreventable, they can't Grape Shot me. I don't know. We'll see. If I'm not dead here, it's because I have protection. I'm certain that they're off in terms of being able to present a win under normal circumstances. They're still going, though, so they know something. They know they're dead next turn, probably. The Ral can flip into Mind's Desire mode, and it did. Exiled all these cards. It could cast instants and sorceries. We've got Ren's Resolve, Burning Wish, Rite of Flame bonus round, Ral, Seething Song, or these are from the other thing. But now we're in the bonus round. They're ready to hurl their deck at me. I'm excited to see how they win through the One Ring. Can they deck me somehow? Is there like a prosperity in their sideboard? Each player draws X. We're about to find out. Alchemist Gambit. So take an extra turn after this one. During that turn, damage can't be prevented. Okay, cool. So they make a lethal empty, then they take an extra turn, and I can't prevent that damage. I knew they'd solve it. Turns out going for Tormod's Crypt here would have actually been better, but would have been nice if those Ren's Resolves weren't just double Demonic Tutor. Both of them were insane. All right, GG. You did it. Okay. Playing against Ruby Storm. Mindbreak Trap, of course. Barian Macabre. Would have been good that game. Dismember can kill Ral, but I'm not going to do that. The Pitting Needle was a stone blank. Does Vexing Bauble do anything in this matchup? It stops Ral's ultimate. That's pretty good. But it also stops my zeros from developing. I guess naming Ral's back would have done something here with the Pithing Needle. I'd have to look up what that is. I don't even know what that card's called on the back. Yeah, I think I'm going to shave 2 baubles and just try to be a combo deck with slightly better interaction this time. The Macabre is here. Vexing Bauble is here. But I have no plan and all my lands are going to die. Got a mulligan. It's getting worse. I'm going to 5. This is a turn 1 ring. I will keep this. Got to get rid of 2 cards here. I think it's City of Traders and Basalt Monolith. A Tomb, Monolith, Petal. Let's see what a turn 1 ring can do in this environment. Draws an Urza Saga. This deck could have Blood Moon in it at this point. It's very easy for them to accelerate that out. Hopefully I'm over the hump caring about that at this point. A key, that always helps. I can play Saga. I can play and untap. I'm going to play the key, untap the 1 ring, and draw 3 more cards before I make my land drop. I'm taking a lot of damage here, but their deck's not going to do 8 damage to me. It's going to do like infinity, or they're going to lose first. Those are the only modes. All right, I'll get Urza's Saga out there. The Urza's Workshop does work next turn. And I think I saved Lotus Petal for Fleshraker or Paradox Engine considerations. And I just have this random Mindbreak Trap chilling. That's a plan. They entomb to Past in Flames with their Surveil. Powerful stuff. Shatter Skull. Ruby. Okay, I can draw roughly 8,000 cards here and hope some of them wins the game. Voltaic a great find. 1 ring, pick them up. Okay, there's a Raker. There's also a command, that's Graveyard Hate. I don't really want to Vexing Bauble because I have my Break Trap in my hand. What happens if I play Raker first? I have double key. I had Lotus Petal. Yeah, I'm going to lead on Fleshraker. Petal, trigger. Just try to get it over. Workshop does tap for 2 right now, which means it's the best land in my hand. Play a key. This is free because it replaces itself with the mana. I'm going to use this key to untap the 1 ring and go for Velocity. Didn't really get there on the Velocity plan. I'm going to sack a spawn, untap Grim Monolith. I can play another Raker here, which functionally costs 2. And then Vexing Bauble functionally makes a mana. Now I'm actually ritualing. Assault Monolith is +2 mana. And I'm dealing 2 damage every time this happens. They're actually just dead to Kozilek's command, and it is by a lot. Okay, cool. Kozilek's command. Target player makes a bunch of dinguses. Exile your Past in Flames. I don't want to exile your Past in Flames. I'll let you keep it. I'll just draw cards. It does not matter. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, who's the Storm deck now? I'm going to get one on the draw. Yeah, I still don't like Vexing Bauble, but still don't see a card I'd rather have in my deck. Let's go. Didn't have to reveal any of my hate either there. This hand, I am going to keep this. Drawing a key or a Lotus Petal would be insane. Vexing Bauble, okay. I also play that card. I can play Monolith. I can K-Command for 1, or Kozilek's command. K-Command's already taken. I can Kozilek's command for 1. If they just get going crazy, I could slightly disrupt a Past in Flame situation. And if they don't do that, I can jam the 1 ring next turn. I do need to find a key before it's too late, though, or some mana source that doesn't hurt me. If they just play like a Braid on my Grim Monolith right now, it's over. It's Jover. I would make a dope and draw a card in response. I guess it's not over. It's mostly fine. I get 2 looks, 3 looks, because there's a scry involved. I get 3 looks at my mana source to play the One Ring on time. I don't care about a Blood Moon here. I can't wish for Tormod Script with Vexing Bauble in play. I could do it if I just needed to cast a spell, like if I needed to trigger the Fleshrakers or the Paradox Engine. Tormod Script still works, but I can't leave it up as hate for Past in Flames. Rite of Flame. We're off to the races. Ral is here. I can't kill that one. Desperate Ritual. Though their Vexing Bauble has Ral's butt under control. They would have to sack their Bauble at some point in the chain to unlock Ral's butt, which costs mana. Ritual, 1 card left in hand. This is wild. Are they just going for like a mini from 0? Oh, no, they're not from 0 mana. They're from 0 cards. They have 4 mana floating. So they're probably just going to empty the Warrens here. Oh, wow, they did get Past in Flames. My leaving up a single Kozilek's Command is going to be good enough. Okay, I'm going to let the... Oh, wait, no, it's not. Shit. What is the plan here? Just get Ral off to the back? Because with Ral, all these things cost less. They're all 1 mana rituals. 6, 7, 8, and they can play 2 of them no matter what. So they're trying to win the coin flip on the last Ral. Yikes. If I'm going to do anything, it has to happen now. But I don't think I'm going to do anything. Because these are all instants, they could just respond to one with the other. I just need them to lose 2 Ral flips here. They won the flip. Shit. Now they can flip Vexing Bauble and go for it. Oh no. This is a cool line. And I can't stop this Desperate Ritual at this point. Just gotta hope their Ral flip is susceptible to Kozilek's Command. And, oh my god. It's just all spells and yeah, okay. That was a cool line. It came down to winning 1 of 2 coin flips. Maybe it was 3. I wasn't really keeping track. 1, 2, or 3 coin flips, but it did just perfectly beat my ability to exile 1 card from the graveyard. That was cool. On to the next round. I am on the draw in the final round, positive record on the line. My opponent's name is Island Ponder Scoop, which I feel like is a personal attack. I have a lot of mana in this hand, but no payoff, and I lose to Wasteland. I'm going to mulligan this. This one's more like it. I do need a payoff, but I have the Monolith Raker start. I'm going to keep in bottom one of the Ancient Tombs. Let's see what they're working with over there. A Polluted Delta. My life is already hard. A Mystic Forge. I kept the faith and was rewarded. Grim Monolith. I'm going to play Key. Untap Monolith. They may not have dazed Grim Monolith, but they might daze a Mystic Forge. I could just play Fleshraker now. That dies to Fatal Push, though, in a way that is annoying. I think I want to put Fleshraker into play and try to pop with Mystic Forge next turn. If they put Archon of Cruelty into play right now, I did just play into it. Okay, no fetch in the end step. Good news. Basic Swamp. If they just cast Psychic Frog here, that's not something I'm particularly worried about in the short term. Okay, cool. Psychic Frog. Come on, deck. Something good. Key is really good. I'm not going to complain. Okay, Workshop. Ancient Tomb. Key. The key is free, so I'm starting there. Now they need Force of Will, because Daze isn't going to be good enough. It would be crazy if they forced this. Oh, there was a pause. I got my hopes up. Okay, untap Grim Monolith. Mystic Forge. Here's the moment. They did not have the Force. That's good. I can Kozilek's Command for 2 here. Untap Grim Monolith. 1, 2, 3, 4. Command exile target creature and make dopes. I don't think I need cards right now because Mystic Forge is cards. This is my first exposure to Daze of the game, but that Fleshraker trigger worked, so we don't have to worry about that. Exile Inventor's Fair, and we're bricked. That's all right. That was a good turn. Got the engine online. Opponent's life total is low. I don't care about Archon of Cruelty or Atraxa anymore. I don't care about Wasteland anymore. Psychic Frog. Didn't care about that one in the first place. Okay, there's Atraxa. Are they about to test me on the I don't care about Atraxa claim. Because this puts them to 5, and I have Fleshraker in play. They've already made their land drop, which means Fatal Push isn't live. This is a lot of looks at a Force, though. There's a Daze, but no Force in there. I don't care about this Wasteland. Alright, Mystic Forge, don't fail me. That's what I need. They kept Wasteland, Ponder, Daze, Brazen Borrower. Okay, I'll draw this land for turn and hope there's an artifact on top of the deck. No such luck. Have to exile this. Hitting a glut of lands is how I could lose this game. Ooh, Karn helps. Well, Urza's Workshop, which is good for 2 mana apiece right now. Karn off the top. There's a One Ring. I think we're good, unless they've had a Force this whole time and just needed a blue card to go with it. Okay, there's Karn. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana right now. All right, Karn, let's make a wish. So Walking Ballista is just lethal. Or I could be clever and get Paradox Engine. I'm going to have the time of my life here. Paradox Engine. I'll take key, untap Monolith. Engine, trigger. The spawn's keeping me in the money ahead of the days. And then casting this One Ring should close it. I do have to untap first, unfortunately. Opponent goes to 2. Oh, there's a lethal spell on top of the deck. We're already good. Even if they counter this One Ring somehow, I still win. Engine, Ring, and now I just float a bunch of mana and cast the command. I could also just make Glaring Fleshraker unblockable and win that way at this point. I'm busy styling, though. Oh, wait, I can't do this because I have protection from everything. Okay, bummer. Well, I still have to cast the spell. I get to exile a thing in graveyard. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, exile Psychic Frog and the cards from your graveyard, leaving mana floating. Whoops. Should still be able to win this game pretty convincingly. All right, with these triggers on the stack, I'm going to draw a card. Get the Urza Saga out of the way. Okay, they've had enough. Cool. Right. The One Ring, protection from everything, includes Kozilek's command. If you go off the same turn, you can't do the make a bunch of dopes machine gun. Well, we've seen this before. We might end up with a perfect league of beating all the Frog Reanimator decks and losing to every deck that's not that, which would be quite the story of this deck's place in the format. Yeah, this is where I was cutting a Mystic Forge. Why was I doing that? Oh, because my piles are backwards. Yeah, this is why I'm doing that. That's the out, that's the in. Okay, figured it out. And I was cutting one other thing here. I think it was the Opal. But when I'm cutting Vexing Baubles, the Opal gets better, not worse. Opal's still pretty mid. Okay. These are out here now. These are in. Do I want Opal and 1 Bauble? All right, I'm going 1 Bauble and bringing Opal back. Just reinventing the wheel every time I roll through this matchup. My hand is slow and susceptible to Wasteland, but it does have the Graveyard Hate and the Grid. I'm going to keep, and it has enough artifacts that these workshops can turn on at the end of turn 2. A Ponder. That's allowed. Let's see if they'll live up to their name and scoop right now. They did not scoop. I hate calling a perfect stranger a bold-faced liar, but, I mean, if the shoe fits. Okay, I can play Soul Guide Lantern into Daze right now, and if they Daze, they can't Entomb Reanimate in the same turn. So this keeps them off at the turn 2 line either way. They did Daze it, which also messes with my future Metalcraft. But with double Kozilek's command in hand, Graveyard Hate isn't really my gate right now. My defense grid makes my own Kozilek's commands pretty bad right now. As always, I hope to draw a Grim Monolith right now. That's just the card you always want to see in this deck. Vexing Bauble, okay. I will cast that. This is working me back up to Metalcraft. Entomb costs mana, though. If they go Entomb Reanimate here, I'll probably discard Defense Grid now that I have Vexing Bauble up. And then just hope to draw a way to put this One Ring on the stack. Grim Monolith does it, Ancient Tomb does it. That's not Entomb. Count it. Good news, everybody. I grabbed an Underground Sea. I'm way less scared of Troll than I am of Archon of Cruelty. Terrified of Wasteland still. This land represents Hardcast Daze, which is obnoxiously effective. All right, just main phase Brainstorm. I'll take that. Okay, no Wasteland. We dodged. Thoughtseize. Okay, I'm probably losing my Ring. I do have 3 good cards in my hand, but Ring is by far the best one. Ooh, they're more worried about the removal / graveyard hate aspect than they are about my combo. Let's punish that with an Ancient Tomb or Grim Monolith right now. Grim Monolith? Mox Opal. Oh no. What a middle finger to my just good deck building here. That would be perfect, except because of how bad it is. All right, I'm going to play the defense grid and invest in next turn. They're going to be safe to do whatever they're going to do this turn, and I will be safe to deploy my One Ring and see what happens next turn. But between grid and bauble, the shields are up. Okay, just flipping a Fanatic is not that scary to me, unless it's followed up by a Wasteland. 10 lifelink. If I win, it'll be at 1 life and I'll deal infinite. This basically doesn't matter. That matters a lot. That hurts. Hurts my life. That Wasteland actually took 3 mana off the board. That was horrendous. Ooh, Urza Saga. This is worth a bunch of mana. Okay, Saga. I have a total of 3 mana right now. I can sack Vexing Bauble for a redraw, basically for free. I guess I have to do that. That gets me Opal, which I can Kozilek's Command for 1 right now. Yeah, I'm going to make 1 Dingus and draw a card. I can't do this on their end step because of my defense grid. Very macabre. Yearship has sailed. Fleshraker, Yearship is in the harbor, ready to go. All right, let's see if I can stabilize. Boy, that Wasteland was good. That Urza Saga, I would have had 3, 6, 7 mana instead of 3 without the Wasteland. So that Wasteland was actually good for 4 mana. Devastating. No blocks. Life total is a construct. Don't Wasteland me. Any land represents Force of Will or Daze. Just something I have to think about. Not that I can afford to play around it. I hope they just cast Psychic Frog or some shit. Yeah, some shit. Confirmed. Okay. You're saying there's a chance. I'm going to resolve a One Ring. That's happening. Nothing they can do about that. I have 5 mana to start the turn. If I play Fleshraker first, I'll have 1, 2 mana left. Yeah, there's nothing clever to do here. It's just play the One Ring. Dig. Cool. Hit a land. And it's a land that actually casts something that matters. Do I want to put Fleshraker out in front of potential removal spells, or do I want to do that all next turn? I think I'm going to invest this key and do it all next turn. I could sack my Spawn to draw 2 more cards now, but I don't think they're going to help. Yeah, I'll just pass. We are very close here. I'm worried about their 3rd land. I'm not so worried about Wasteland anymore. Okay, if they ponder, that means they can't force on my turn. If they have some answer to the One Ring, like if they play a Pithing Needle, that could be annoying. I guess Petty Theft would reset my ring, but then I just replay it and we'd play that turn cycle over again. And right now, if nobody is really doing anything, that favors me, because they're the ones with lethal on board. If the game grinds to a halt, that's my time to shine. Okay, end of turn. I'm gonna draw 2 cards. Zoop. I go to 8, and I don't think there's anything they can really do here. I'm just trying to think about cards that this deck might ever play. I'm going to float mana while I still have 2 Urza lands. Float another mana. Get a key. I can draw a lot of cards and do a lot of damage here. Okay, Eldrazi mana floating. Fleshraker. Ancient Tomb. Take the beats. Fleshraker. Now my keys are rituals, and I have a win con established. Key, plus mana, deal damage. Okay. Grim Monolith and Karn. This should win the game somehow. Monolith. Yeah, with 4 keys, this Karn gets Paradox Engine, and this is a clean exit. Just making a bunch of mana here. Karn. And I have the spell in my hand to get the first jump on the Paradox Engine. Zoom, zoom. Opponent's already at 10. Double Fleshraker kills so fast. It's crazy. Boing. Off we go. untap all my stuff, draw a bunch of cards with the One Ring. I drew literally any spell. That's all I need there. I'm going to keep the one with lots of counters on it. And they're dead. Okay, the narrative held. We beat Frog Reanimator 3 times and lost to every deck that wasn't Frog Reanimator. That is kind of a strong endorsement in terms of if you want to farm a frog-heavy metagame. But even a deck that's close to 25% of the metagame still means you're playing against other decks 75% of the time. I felt like a giant dog in that Moonstompy matchup we played against. Ruby Storm was close. They threaded the needle twice where it was very close either way. I also don't expect to see a lot of Ruby Storm at Eternal Weekend, but you do have to select a deck that can beat random stuff. The Kozilek's Command, really impressive, a huge upgrade to exist in this deck. The Glaring Fleshraker, a real win con. Just when your Dark Ritual is also dealing damage, that's pretty messed up. Great payoff for there. I assume there's a couple flex slots in this deck, like 2 Eldrazi Temples. Someone did the math here. Maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. Like 1 Soul Guide Lantern, 1 Pithing Needle, 7 Keys, 1 Opal, 3 Petal. Like there's a correct configuration, and this might be it. I'm just saying, if you want to dig in on this, these numbers have room to move around. The deck's impressive, especially in a field where I expect basically no one to have a Null Rod. Though this is the type of deck that if it picks up before Eternal Weekend, which is still about a month away at this point, it's easy to adjust. Like if Reanimator just puts 2 Null Rods in their sideboard, that might completely flip the matchup. Just be aware of this thing if you're going to go play at Eternal Weekend. And if you're a Frog Reanimator player, good luck out there, because if this 5-match set is any indication, this deck is literally unbeatable. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks to cardtrader.com for sponsoring the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.